guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for May 10th, 2020. So we made it through another week. This week was really hard on me work-wise. It was so hard to focus at home, and then the days that I did go into my job, I had to do some filing, which was just horrendous. Anyway, and so it was kind of a weird week, and actually today I kind of broke. As I said, I normally don't go out except on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a couple hours to work, and then every other Saturday I go grocery shopping with my brother. And this week was not one of my weeks to go. I didn't need to go grocery shopping, but this morning I was craving Dutch Brothers coffee so bad, and I was just like, well, let's just go. I'll just go get a coffee and I'll be fine. Well, I was, except the line was really long. So I decided, well, I'll just drive down this one street, Cornelius Pass, all the way down to the other one. Maybe the line wouldn't be so bad there, because the one I went to first was just jammed up. It was kind of awkward. So I went down to the other one. And the line was long there too, but I just said, I'll just get it there. But what that did is it got me out, and I drove down streets I hadn't driven down in, well, a couple months. Some of them quite a while. I don't usually go that way. So I drove, got the coffee, and then I drove back a different way, so I got to drive down another busy street. And that, well, not busy, but I meant a street that I used to drive down every once in a while, and so it was just kind of nice to be out driving a little bit. So my coffee run turned from like a 20-minute run to about an hour, but that's fine. I had fun, and I'm glad I did it. I mean, again, I never got out of my car, and yeah, I just got the coffee, so that was my only, I was dying for it. It's not even as good as normal. Like, it's kind of sad because it's not as caramely as I'd wanted it, but that's fine. I will live. Anyway, so it's been a hard week for me just mentally. A lot of people, again, are going through that. Mine just kind of fluctuates, and this week was not one of my better weeks. I was fine. I mean, I did what I had to do. I didn't do much else after work. So my reading was kind of slow. I did get some things done though, so that is great. So let's go into that. So, on Sunday, no, what day did I finish that? No, I didn't. I think I had finished a book Saturday, or about that last week, or at the moment, and I was gonna read a book on Sunday that I just wanted to start because it just came out. So this is Defy or Defend by Gail Carriger. This is Deliciously Deadly series. So this is following characters from the finishing school. It's about 10 years later, so it's like, I mean, it's a period of time since those YA series that took place, and then now they're adults, and this is the couple of the side characters, their love stories. So, but it always has action adventure in a, a little fun way, and it has to do with vampires and werewolves and other, that's mostly it. But it's just so much fun. She is so good at making it diverse as possible in a Victorian English setting with steampunk details, and this one was really funny. Again, Dimity was one of my favorite characters from the Finishing School series. She was the best friend of the main character in that series, so she always was the one who was like really liked all the pretty things and was very fashion oriented and very but she didn't really want to be a spy assassin. So she's been working though all these years for the government to, still working, because that was what she was trained for in the Finishing School series. And but she's at that time where she thinks she's ready to step away from it now. It felt like she's done what she wanted to do, as well. She kind of got carried away because all of her friends were doing it, kind of thing, and she wants to kind of settle down. And she and her keeper, oh gosh, his name just Crispin, they are sent to this hive up in Nottingham, and they have to deal with it because the queen vampire has gone into seclusion, and that means everybody is all of her vampires as well as the attendants are all kind of doing weird things and all worried and stuff. So that's they've come to say pretty much to figure out if they need to save them or they have to kill off the queen and start the hive, or destroy the hive. So it's really a fun, again, it has vampires and it has this cute love story between her, and I really enjoyed that. I loved her, and I just love Chris. He was one of my favorites, especially when you find out what his artistic talent is, because they have to pretend to be artists to go to the hive. Oh, it's hilarious. I about fell over. It was so cute. Again, this is about 240 pages. It's not super long. It's not a long novel, but it is a novel. I did enjoy it, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5, but it was just, it's fun. I've already ordered a physical copy. I always buy her more self-published stuff. I usually buy I usually buy an ebook when it first comes out, and then I read it, and then this last year I've actually bought all the other ones. So for my birthday I just bought a copy of this. Should be coming this next week. My birthday is at the end of this week. So I'm already my birthday haul. Yeah, the books I'm getting quite a few books, because that's, what I do for my birthday is I buy myself books. But anyway, I really enjoyed this. If you've read the Finishing School series, I would definitely do that first. Again, it is like one of the only YA series that I ever have read, because again, it was Caleb Carriger and it was this world, and it's one of my favorites. So I read it, but I admit I got rid of I gave my books to my friend who has teenage girl, or young, well, they were middle school when I gave it to them, but they have all my books now. But I do love these books that are more adult, that are when they're adults, and their love stories, but with some action and some hijinks, and just, oh, such cute stuff. I love Gail Carriger. Again, she's one of my favorite novelists. So anyway, and then I think on Monday, I think I finished the audiobook to Silver Silence. Yeah, I think I did. I think I listened to this most of the day at work so I could finish it. You guys know this is like my favorite book of the series. This is book, what did I say, 16 of the Side Changeling series. Nalingi Singh is my standard go-to for rereads. And this book, as I said, I read about twice a year right now since it came out in 2017. I've read it every year at least twice. This is my first time this year, so I'll probably pick it up again later this year. It is just my favorite. I can't go into it. Again, it's shifters and psychics who are called the Psy, and humans who are all vying for power. And then it's just a bear and one of the Psys who their relationship after there's an assassination attempt on her. It is my favorite book. I just read it all the time. And then I am participating in Springathon. So I picked up Into Thin Air by John Krakauer. So this is his personal memoir of the Everest disaster in May 1996. So this was very fascinating. It did take me most of the week to read. I was reading very slowly and not very much, I admitted. As I said, this week was hard on me mentally. I couldn't focus. But I did make it through, and I finished it yesterday morning. I really found it very powerful in points. Again, he does a really good job of accepting some blame of some of the stuff that he did that at the time he would not have known that could have been a problem, or that he misunderstood. And he also tries to bring out that there was all these little things that happened, and it wasn't just one thing that had when after they reached the summit on Everest. I think 8 people died in that next day, or that day and that night. So it was, it was a pretty big deal. I kind of remember news stuff on it back then, but not, again, it was quite a long time ago. That does 96. It was quite a long time ago. But this is I've read some of his newer, I read some of the stuff in the 2000s. I don't remember which books I read in the middle there. I could look, Under the Banner of Heaven. I read one other one. I can't think of another one. But I did not read Into Thin Air or Into the Wild. So I want to pick up Into the Wild next at some point. I don't own a copy yet. But I really thought this was well done. It is funny because the last 20 pages is his rebuttal to The Climb, which was written by one of the other guides, or one of the other, a guide that was there, and because they felt that Krakauer was insinuating that he was part of that he made mistakes, which he did. I think they all, as I said, it was all little things that culminated into a disaster, which is usually how that happens. And so, but they had a ghostwriter who, well, I mean, he wasn't a ghostwriter, he was actually on the copy that said he wrote the book, but he really attacked Krakauer for his journalism and Krakauer didn't want to rebuttal because he didn't want to make it that public after he had fights with the guide over some of this stuff. So he decided to, in addition, I guess a couple years after this came out in 97, I think, and then 97 or 98, and then a year or two later when it went to paperback, he or another edition, he wrote this rebuttal. This is like 20 pages of refuting what the climb, how they said it happened. And it was very interesting. I wasn't expecting that last 20 pages to be like, so I was wondering where it was going by the time I got to the epilogue, and I'm like, wait, I got quite a few pages left. So it was interesting because it shows that even though Krakauer made mistakes in his first reporting and some of his impressions, he did actually go in and actually say he made mistakes. And he was very good. I thought he did a really good job about that, as well as getting perspectives from all the other people who survived and stuff, and what they thought happened and stuff. And again, there's conflicts in certain things, but I thought he did a really good job showing all that, and I think the rebuttal shows that. I don't know if I'll ever read The Climb because I just feel like their arguments aren't well established enough, but maybe I'm just because I went off of this, so I don't know, I might pick that up at some point. So if you guys have read The Climb, again, I don't know what the guy's first name is, but DeWitt was the one who wrote it, but I don't know. So we'll see. But I'm really glad I picked this up. Again, it's a book I wanted to read for a long time. I picked this book up, I think, last year. I think at Nonfiction November, I was going to try to squeeze it in, and I didn't. So I'm glad I got to this. So, yeah. So those are the books I finished. So then I'm in the middle of 3 things, but I'm not sure how this is going. So the book that I'm focusing on right now is Norwegian Wood, Chopping, Stacking, and Trying Wood the Scandinavian Way by Lars Middy. And this is translated from Norwegian by Robert Ferguson. So I picked this book up at a Goodwill like a couple years ago as a joke gift for my dad. And then I got it home and I realized it's really not a joke gift. This really is about talking about how important wood is to the Scandinavians. And it was really because again, they're in the cold climate and they have to plan ahead to get the wood to dry in time for winter and all. It's been fascinating. I'm about halfway through, so I'm about there. So I've got through the trees part, which makes me want to pick up the book I have on my TBR called The Hidden Life of Trees. But okay, anyway, and then it talks about let's see, the different talks about the climate, and then it gives great pictures about different let's find some of the I'm not gonna find well, they talk about all the saws. Oh, that was a hard chapter last night to read. It was all about the equipment because I was like, I'm falling asleep. I don't care. It is, I guess this is sold like millions in Scandinavia because it's a good guide of looking at, well, I don't know, that's, as I said, there's other pictures of wood. I just can't, it's not clicking. There's plenty. You know, so and it's talking about going out into the woods and, you know, being prepared for that too. And so, as I said, I read the tools part last night, and anyway, it's just a weird, so it wasn't really a joke gift, so I didn't give it to him yet. So I'm gonna read it though. Again, I'm half Norwegian, my dad's full Norwegian. So it's kind of a joke, and we've been to Norway, and so it's just, I kind of wanted to, so I'm reading it for Springathon to get through it, and then I'll pass it to him. It's fascinating in some ways. Some of it's boring, so it's not reading quite as fast as I wanted it to. It's really only 190 pages. It's not a long book, but it has a lot of big pictures. it just has a lot of information, and it is really instructional in certain ways. Again, he's really good about saying before you actually pick up power tools, you should watch a lot of videos or talk to your, you know, local person who does the chainsaws and stuff before, and take a class or something. But it's really fascinating about looking at having to plan for the winter as you know, for wood stoves and stuff. And again, growing up, we had a wood stove, and my dad would get wood delivered, and it was our chore to carry it from the front yard to the backyard through it with a wheelbarrow. So it is not one of my fond memories, admittedly. And but he didn't make us. Again, we were pretty young, but you know, he mostly did the chopping. But we had that wood stove for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, and then they switched to a pellet after that. But and again, there's differences in the it talks about environmental things and what offsets that, and then with electricity and how that changed things. It has been very interesting. It's not, I don't think it's knowledge that I'm going to keep forever in my head. It's just different and weird. And as I said, I'm just finishing it. So for springathon, because it sounded interesting, I wanted to get it off my shelf so I can give it to my dad. So anyway, so I'm halfway through that. So I'm hoping to finish that up today or tomorrow. Hopefully today. I have plenty of time. Now I've had my little drive out into the world. I have not touched Showa, A History of Japan, 1953 to 1989 by Shigeru Mizuki, translated by Zach Davidson. Again, this is a manga about the history of Japan and Mizuki as he is becoming a popular manga artist. And I just have not, this week was not a week for me to pick this up. So hopefully I will pick it up at some point this week. And then the other book that I have picked up is The Odd Women by George Gissing. Okay, so I really want to read this. I really do, but my mind is not focusing enough for a classic right now. I don't know what that is about. I made it to page 30, I think last week, or I was just a little bit, I don't know, I might have read a page or two. I don't remember what I read. I'm at page 30 still. And it's been like that all week. I might have read a little bit on Sunday, but or Monday, I don't remember. I think I read a little bit one day and then that was it. So I have to remind myself I am horrible at buddy reads or read-alongs that are structured to a chapter or two a day or more than that. I just don't read that way. I really am usually a single book person, and then an audiobook floating around, which reminds me I do have an audiobook to talk about. Sorry. But I do want to read this. I've been wanting to read this, and I was enjoying it the first 30 pages. So I'm hoping to slip it in. I might not make it by the time that they finish the read along. Again, Katie at Books and Things is putting this on with Marissa at Blatantly Bookish, and they're doing 2 chapters a day until the 16th. I don't know if it's gonna happen, guys. I think I'm gonna be sometime this month, maybe. I don't know. I want to read it, but it's not calling to me. And I've discovered definitely that I need to go back to my mood reading ways. My trying to plan my reading is not going so well. Anyway, so I'm hoping to get to that. Again, this is 1893, and it's following women who are unmarried and have to work because they're pretty much poor and they don't have a choice, and they either their family situations are that, you know, they don't have they're orphans, or they're just down on their luck. That's their class. And so they're talking about governesses and companions and working in a shop. So they're talking about all that kind of thing in the late 1800s, which is really interesting. So, and it's following a few women from one family, and I know that they're talking to a friend from childhood right now, so I don't know how that's gonna go on, but I want to read it, but my brain just won't go there. Anyway, and I should have known me reading a couple chapters a day is never gonna work. That's not the way I read. I don't. I mean, I keep telling myself to do that for certain projects, for big books, or for things like that. I need to just read things straight. And then I did start the audiobook of Romantic Outlaws, The Extraordinary Lives of Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley by Charlotte Gordon. And I forgot to write down the narrator on the audio. Sorry, I will make sure I do that. I need to do that. Anyway, I got this on audio using a credit because I've been wanting to read this, but I tried to read it at one point and I just was like, oh, I just can't get myself to focus on it, so I thought I'd get the audiobook, and it was really a good idea. So I got about 110 pages in, so I'm not super far. It's about a 500, was it 507? No, 550? Yeah, almost about 550 page book. So even though I've started it, I'm technically going to count it for my tometopple. I don't care. I'm not following all these read-alongs that closely. I am doing tometopple, which I'll show you what the book I'm going to pick up next, or what I think I'm going to pick up next. But this is the one I'm going to read for audio. For that, again, this is their autobiography, their biographies about their lives, and it intermixes between the mother, and then the daughter, and then the mother and the daughter. It is so interesting, and they lived such interesting lives considering the ups and downs of it. And as I said, I'm only like a fifth of the way through, but I'm really enjoying it. This week, my brain kind of melted and said, no more audiobooks, because I guess I listened to this and then Silver Silence way too much. And so hopefully this week I will be able to pick this up again and at least listen to it in my car, which I haven't been listening to my car either, even though I haven't been in my car much except for today. I didn't. Anyway, I'm enjoying this, and this is technically also for a springathon, is because I think Natalie at the Curious Reader said I could read this. So, I think she mentioned it, so I don't know. Anyway, so, but yeah. And I didn't say before, but the springathon is put on by Natalie at the Curious Reader and Emma at the Cup of Books, and I can't remember her name, but on Blank Garden on Instagram. So, again, you could... Those are all the people. I don't know. I'm in the middle of a lot of stuff. And then tometopple, as I said, is one I've done many times, which is put on by Sam at Thoughts on Tomes. So, talking about the books that I think I'm going to pick up next. Again, alright, I'm in the middle of Norwegian Wood, so I want to finish that. And then I think I'm going to pick up A Sting in the Tail by Dave Goulson. I think I want to read this one for Springathon before I go to my tometopple. This one is, well, it's about 270 pages and kind of this awkward little, so it's not super, I don't know, it's a little dense. I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I don't know, I might try this and then I might not finish it, but I'm gonna at least try for, but we'll see how I feel after Norwegian Wood, if I feel like going on to this. I'm just not sure, but this is the pick I would go to if I picked another one of that. And all I know is about his following the bumblebee, and again, his nature writing, so I'm hoping we learn about bees. Yeah, so groundbreaking research on these creatures. So we will see. I don't know. I've seen this on so many people's channels, and I bought this cool copy, so I do want to read that. And then the book that I'm going to pick for tometopple, and technically I can do it for Springathon because there is a plant on it, is The Mirror and the Light by Hilary Mantel. So this is book 3 of the Thomas Cromwell series. I read book 1 in January, book 2, or Wolf Hall in January, Bring Up the Bodies, book 2 in February. And then again, I had to wait for my library to get my copy. I got a copy the day before the library shut down. So I was very lucky to get my hold to come in. I wasn't planning to, I thought I was way down on the list and suddenly it appeared. So it was luck. But now we are in May and I still have this book. So I don't know when the libraries are planning to reopen, but I do want to get this done this month. This is a book that I have been looking forward to, since I finished Bring Up the Bodies. And I do want to finish out this trilogy. It would be nice to finish something this year because I'm not doing very good on finishing any series, even though I have quite a few. I just have a book left and I haven't finished. So I do want to finish this one. So this is the one I want to pick up either after A Sting in the Tail, or I'm going to pick up it next. It just depends on how my mood is after I finish Norwegian Wood. So that is all the books. I know I went on a long time again. I'm just in the middle of too many things, but I did finish a few. I'm not my numbers are not as high as I would like. And that also brings up just a really quick thing here at the end. For those who are still here, I haven't been doing any of my stats videos. I kind of dropped that, not because I stopped keeping my stats. It's just I didn't do my journal, my book journal this year. I just never got around to getting my act together to actually draw things or make my graphs. So I haven't done it yet. So I think I'm going to wait until the half-year point and then do a half-year one. Or do you want me to go back and get my data together and do a quarterly one that's from, you know, and do that as well? I just kind of want to know what you guys wanted me to do. I mean, I'll definitely do the 6-month one. I just haven't put that stuff together, and I'm just not, I just haven't got around to doing anything creative that way in that. So I don't know if I'll have any my journal, not my journal, it's not pretty. It's just pretty standard, but I mean, I at least have numbers. I could do stats. I don't know. I just haven't done any of that stuff, and I kind of miss doing it monthly. I just, this first part of the year, it didn't happen. So if you have an opinion either way, let me know. Other than that, have you guys read any of these books? How are you thinking about reading any of these books? What are you reading right now? Anything good? How is your reading going? Let me know. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.